Greetings, Ani, Bonjour, Kwe Kwe. It's Catherine here from Moonstarlodge in Central Ontario, bringing our Indigenous perspective on divination and all good things cartomancy. We have dog noise already. I've just barely started the video. We did a video for the middle of the week over on Instagram, which is posted on Facebook, and you'd think after 3 years we'd have this down pat, but we take 2 weeks off at Christmas and it's like we're starting all over again. Anyway, if I didn't say, it's from the 9th of January to and including the 15th, and you may wish to refer to that previous video. It's a short one, but it supports this reading. So this week I am using, because we're in the time of talks with relations, the Relative Tarot. Now this tarot by Carrie Paris is one that deals with the numerology of our cards for the year. It relates our birth, and if you're an avid student of numerology, you need to gobble this up. And if you've thought about numerology, because it is part of tarot and a big part of tarot. In fact, I'm thinking of doing a class this year on the Roquemore system of numerology, which takes me back. But we're using that one. We're using the Vintage Wisdom Oracle, the Marigold Tarot. We're using the Embroidered Graveyard. We're using the Wandering Echo, which is a majors only moon-based thing, the Wandering Soul, which is part of that process, and finally the Dream Makers Tarot. So all rather vintage looking to some degree or another, and yet we are in the time of talks with relations. And many of us are dreaming with the wheel. And so it's time, if you're vision boarding, that sort of thing, it's time to talk with ancestors, to remember where we've come from in terms of lineage, to cut cords with what no longer serves us, to get rid of intergenerational trauma and all those things which perhaps put big blisters on our future. But this is a very interesting reading. I pull ahead of time so as not to take up time, but also because I have rheumatoid arthritis and I'm not the best shuffler. So we can go to the cards, Brian. So here are the Carrie Paris Relative Tarot cards. And then I have one each from all the other decks, except we doused. I needed a 7th card for a clarifier, so we doused, and it was the Graveyard Tarot. So we have 2 of those cards. So we start the week. Our significator is the 9 of Cups. Feeling kind of sated and happy, and things are all together and loving and complete. And this being a general collective reading, you know, perhaps you don't feel that, but you should be finding that. And it's being with relatives, and it's thinking in a nostalgic way of holidays past and loved ones. It's clarified by the concept of preserving time. Now, we can't make time stand still, but Einstein did share with us that time is fluid and it's not linear. So it's time to look at the things that we appreciate and we feel good about, and things that have moved us in retrospect to why we are feeling happy and content. This is followed by the Lover's card, and the Lover's card is about choice. We do have choices to make, and we have choices to make because there is transition. Now, transition relates to situational transition, It's not talking about necessarily full-on death. Like the caterpillar doesn't die to transform or transition into the butterfly, we are shifting something that we can't go back from. So in other words, once you lose your virginity, you can't say, I didn't like that experience and I'm going to be a virgin again. It's one of those transitions where you're going to love the transition, you're going to love the choices that you have. This card gets confused sometimes with our significant other and loving someone. It can be the choice to love self. And the transition that we're looking at here tells me that we're going to love the transition. What's interesting is it's followed by the Page of Wands. So it's the Page of Wands, wands being fire, spirit, passion, the passion and karmic call we have in life. This page is letting us know that we need to look at the transitional choices we have with new eyes, as if from a new perspective. We may need to seek some outside support to vision, because we are visioning forward, incorporating the fluidity and issues of the past, and things from the past can certainly come up and bite us in the butt, but we are looking with new eyes at this transition, and what it brings us is something that showed up in the midweek reading for last week, which is balance. So it's temperance, and temperance and balance showed up. So it's bringing a situation into balance, something we can work with. Now, at some point during the week, we may get into the Five of Cups issue, which is grief. We may feel that what we have transitioned out of, what we've moved away from, is something that we're sad to leave behind. In fact, we may feel trapped by a decision. This is the Eight of Swords. But the Eight of Swords is always a reminder that the woman in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck that's bound just has to rub those ropes that she feels binds her up against those swords, and she's not actually encircled completely by the swords. This is being trapped in our own whirlwind of anxiety. So we seem to start the week happy and content. We're making transitions and moving, and then we go, uh-oh, what have I done? But we need not go there. We have the Seven of Pentacles. This is the experience card. We have the experience. We've put the grunt work in. We've made transitions thousands of times in a lifetime. Every day we shift something in our lives. We may look back with nostalgia. The Six of Cups says, you know, you've survived so far everything you've transitioned through and changed and taken on. So there really is no need to feel grief or fear that we're trapped by our decision. One needs to feel their feelings. I shouldn't say squash the feelings, and I'm not implying that. I'm saying acknowledge that they're there, but recognize that you've got the experience, that this is probably an old paradigm, an old tape and loop that you're just replaying. You have experience. We all do. It still seems to be a nagging thing, but this Ten of Swords says something is done. Done and done and done. Whatever we're transitioning out of is done. There, it's dead in the water. We have to take on the knowledge and the attributes and the concept of the law, as in the Emperor. Now, the Emperor is considered to be male, but we're not saying that. We're taking on the attributes, male or female or fluid gendered. It's the attributes of the Emperor. And we're saying, okay, we've dealt with it. It's done. There's no point looking back on this. We need to move forward. So what we have here is the Knight of Swords, and this dude is all about talking, being intellectual, communicating, and moving rapidly to cut away the stuff that no longer serves. So we go from an emotional awareness and clarity to an intellectual clarity about the right use. So this is 2 cards past the Ten of Swords. So we're picking ourselves up here. And what I find beautiful here in this time of Aries is this goat that says, live deliciously. Recognize that what you're moving to brings you right back to this sense of living in with everything that you need and in perfect joyfulness. So living deliciously is an awareness that you've got it all. We started with that awareness. We've moved through some thinking and patterns for transitions being made, and you're going to end up very clearly aware that life is about living deliciously. You can flip the camera. So this is a pistol packing week. It's wonderful to be able to process like that. While it seems very roller coaster like, it really isn't. It's about recognizing that the vision boards we may be actually creating, the dreaming with the wheel, the talking with relations, is moving us through old paradigms, letting them go with 2022, and helping us to acquire new things in preparation for 2023. Now, if you know the numerology, it's the Chariot year. And the Chariot is about full speed ahead. Sometimes it's going to be a good choice and sometimes it's not, but it's a choice that needs to be made. And regardless of what we want, life is going to move ahead. So we might as well take the reins and take control of those beasts that are pulling our chariot. It would be good to know from an individual perspective what your individual year's card is. And that's where the Carrie Paris deck is very valuable. We may just do a class on that, as I said earlier. Anyway, have a great and wonderful week. Take care. Leave me a like if you like this video. Subscribe so you get automatic notifications whenever we put any of our type of videos out relating to tarot and divination. And if you feel so inclined, send me a coffee. I love that. I appreciate that very much. We'll be getting some information out the next couple of months about some classes, and we're moving forward too. Miigwech, blessings, aho.